But I love how you start this show personal, because you can't separate. People think like, oh, I can go, get a certificate from Cornell and learn all about leadership. And they're great. You learn a lot.
Sure.
I've taken some of those, but you can't separate that from your personal. How
Yeah.
you show up as a father, mother, partner, friend,
Yeah.
just person picking up your coffee at Starbucks.
Yeah.
And how you show up leading a business, they won't be different. If they are, then you're going to be burning a lot of energy.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. You're faking it. You're being two people in the same day.
Right.
No, there's got to be a combination of those two. And, if you show your character in business, then that relationship lasts longer.
Right.
And that's why we have such a long relationship. Right.
Yeah.
I love that, man. And I appreciate that.
Same business, different day.
Good afternoon, and welcome back to the Same Business, Different Day podcast. I am your host, Zeke Corley. I want to start off with a lesson, Same Business Podcast lesson, Same Business, Different Day podcast lesson number 2001. I don't know, I haven't been keeping count. If you are an aspiring entrepreneur, consider where you are regionally when you decide what type of business you want to start. As many of you know, I was raised in Northern California, and although I had been in the San Diego area going on like 18 years, when I met this gentleman, our guest today gave me one of those welcome to Southern California moments. I was thrown aback 2 times in a row when I met him. He left me speechless, but wanting to know more. First, it was with his name. And then it was with his business. We'll get into all of that as we tell the story today. We want to welcome Knight Campbell to the show.
Thanks, Zeke. Really excited to be here.
Love it, man. I love it. I'm happy to have you here, man. We've known each other for a few years, but most of it's been by phone. And then with COVID, then that separated us even more, right? So it's just like all email. So I'm really happy to have you here. Knight, that was the first one. That was the one that threw me. It's like, what did he say his name was? And I'm the name guy, right? I always remember names. I'll spell it. And so I probably spelled it to you. And I was like the traditional K-N-I-G-H-T.
So I was teaching rock climbing, I don't know, 5 years ago. And all my life it's been, like a knight in shining armor. I'm like, yeah. And this guy, he's like, you mean like a mounted warrior? And I was like, yes. Yeah. That's it.
You get it.
Yeah. So now I tell people that and they're like, that's kind of weird.
I love it, man. Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Virginia.
Okay.
Backwoods of Virginia. Beautiful.
The backwoods.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No traffic lights.
Not the big city. Not what we hear, Virginia Beach and all of that.
No.
Okay.
Mountains, Blue Ridge, Appalachia. Beautiful.
Okay. And that probably created a lot of your current passions then.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Do you have any early aspirations, what you wanted to be when you grew up or anything like that?
Yeah. I've been thinking about this a lot lately. I just read this book, The Last Lecture. And the premise is this computer science professor was going to die in like 3 months from cancer. And there's this thing where they do a last lecture. And this was literally his last lecture. So his whole lecture is about like fulfilling childhood dreams.
So he's giving the lecture, right? Not
right.
Somebody. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So it's kind of like if you only had one last chance to impart wisdom on the world, what would it be?
Okay.
And that was his whole lecture was about childhood dreams. And I was like, did I have any? Like, I don't know. I know for sure I wanted to be an ambulance driver when I was a little kid.
Okay.
Obviously, I don't. I guess they're pretty cool, And I wanted to be a marine biologist.
Just because you like to run the red lights, or because
maybe,
you really wanted to save people?
I do that. Wait a minute. No, but my grandfather flew for the Navy in World War II, and I grew up with his stories and hearing about that. And he went to the Naval Academy, and so I think pretty early on, that's what I wanted to do.
Now you told me that you went into the Navy as well. Was your grandfather one of your mentors?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So tell me about the Naval Academy. Tell me about that military experience.
Oh, I've blocked it all out. I only remember the good parts, That's the beautiful thing.
Remember
about
the
life.
good parts is important in life. Yeah.
I made great friends. I met my wife there.
Okay.
Got to go fly helicopters for 10 years. Actually, we graduated and we're like, no way we're going back there ever. And then like 5, 6, whatever years later, we go back to teach leadership. And it was an awesome experience. Yeah. So
beautiful. Okay. So I'm gonna try to hold you back from giving away too much of what you do.
All right. Yeah.
As we talk about growing up, because we're getting some clues out there already, but that's good. It's all good. It's
we'll
all
be
good.
Secretive.
So like, how about other mentors? You have other folks around you that kind of gave you an idea of, your path?
Yeah. Well, I don't know about my path per se, but just being a human being.
Okay.
I did karate as a kid, and then I did it at the Naval Academy too. Mm-hmm. And both people who were my masters, my teachers, senseis, were pretty profound impact on me.
Love it.
I know my first Renshi, Penny Shannon, just self-discipline and respect.
Love that.
If you learn those two things in life, you get pretty far. So,
that's
and then Master Johnson, he took over from another guy who was kind of like the hard ass, iron sharpens iron. We did body hardening, which doesn't work actually.
Okay.
Just hit each other until you get harder, but it doesn't, you just hit each other more. I don't know.
Right.
So I kind of had that mentality, in sophomore year. He came in, and eventually I was the captain of the team, working real closely with Master Johnson. And I kind of like walked up to him, like, oh, this is the first day. I was like, a lot of like people here are weak or whatever. Like, we're going to have to. And he's like, he just looked at me. He didn't yell at me or anything. He's just like, well, I believe in taking lemons and making lemonade.
Yeah.
And that really stuck with me. So
I love it.
Lots and lots of, wrestling coaches and teachers, my art teacher, and I don't know, like 6th grade.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime I turned in a piece of art, I loved art. I loved drawing. And I'd say, is this good enough? And she'd be like, if you have to ask, like, no.
Okay.
Leave. Bring it back when it's the best you can do.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just, if you live your life that way, respect people, have self-discipline, and do the best you can do all the time, like, shoot, you got it.
That's the lesson.
So, yeah, I'm sure there are more people out there, but.
I love it, man. I love it. So what about jobs? Like, you remember your first job?
Yeah, my father was an editor of the local paper, so I remember stuff.
This is out in Virginia?
Yeah.
Okay.
Small town paper, and all the ads and the shiny pieces of paper that nobody really wants to read anyway. Mm-hmm. I stuffed them in there one by one, just like open the paper, stuff it in. So I did that, and then I was a lifeguard. Was it tactical?
Did you have to? Did you put it like behind the first page? Did you
it's just like in the centerfold. You just kind of open it up and throw it in. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they make machines for that. I didn't find that out until like after I was like, Dad, why don't you use a machine?
Hey, you gotta learn hard work, right?
Yeah, no, that's good.
Yeah, that's good. How about other jobs?
Yeah, I was a lifeguard. Which was pretty fun. I think back, I just went to the pool with my daughter, and I looked at all these lifeguards. They're like 15 to 17. Mm-hmm. I was like, whoa, these people are keeping my daughter safe. Like, I don't know. But
and
then
you
I
were
thought
around that age?
Of course, yeah. I thought I was the king of the world. Then, so. Yeah, it's just funny how perspective shifts.
That's cool. So, I know you kind of blocked it out a little bit, but that military experience, it had to have a serious impact on you, though.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Yeah. What kind, probably some of the same lessons, right? The respect and.
For sure.
And so forth. Okay.
For sure.
Did it give you at all kind of the energy towards entrepreneurship or make you think about you started to kind of get a better grasp of what you wanted to do in your future?
Yeah, I was thinking about that, and I decided to go to the Naval Academy. I wanted to fly. Mm-hmm. I didn't think past that. I went through the academy, went to flight school, and got to do some awesome things in the Navy. Deployed to the West Pacific a couple of times, and didn't think about it. So like everybody in high school and college is thinking about, well, what's my next step? What am I going to do? And I decided after like 10 years, 2016, I thought, well, like I can deploy and everything. My wife's going to med school. We want to have kids. So I got to get out. Like it doesn't add up to stay in. I was like, oh no, what the heck do I do?
Now, what do you do?
So I think in terms of entrepreneurship, veterans are awesome. Like operating in ambiguity. You don't think that. You're like, oh, don't you just get orders and execute them? But even at the lowest levels these days, people are in positions where, if you're in the South China Sea and you fly in the wrong place, it's an international incident.
Yes.
So there's a lot of ambiguity in decision making at a pretty low level.
Announcing the all-new podcast from the Vista Chamber of Commerce. Velocity is the Vista Chamber's new podcast. Bi-monthly, you'll hear interviews from Vista's movers, shakers, and changemakers with host and chamber CEO, me, Rachel Beld. Tune in and get the latest developments around the city of Vista and get insight from those who have a direct impact on our city. Watch Velocity on YouTube or tune in on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Overcast, or wherever you get your podcasts. Velocity, moving Vista forward.
Ignoring squills and warning lights on your car is not a good way to lower the cost of owning it. And going without essential business insurance is not a good way to save money in your business. What we know for sure is doing either will cost you more than you will save in the short and the long run. With YourInsurancePlace.com, you can trust a specialist to help maintain your cars and avoid major expenses. Business owners should look to business insurance specialists when it comes to finding competitively priced, quality insurance coverage for their businesses. At YourInsurancePlace.com, we specialize in workers' compensation, general and professional liability, employment practices and cyber liability, property owner policies, and bonds for most types of businesses. YourInsurancePlace.com knows that we can help. If you're uncovered, need to lower the cost of your current insurance, or need better coverage, we can help. YourInsurancePlace.com has been helping businesses for close to 40 years. If you need a quote on your insurance, call us now at 858-569-8100 or find us at YourInsurancePlace.com. We are business insurance specialists ready to help. I love that, man.
So yeah, I think veterans just are naturally good for entrepreneurship.
I completely agree. And we've had a few on the show already. And so, just like all of them, we thank you for your service as well, man.
Appreciate it.
Beyond that, how about education? You went to school. Where did you go to school?
Yeah, so Naval Academy comes with a degree. I decided to do English, so I got a Bachelor of Science in English, and I don't regret it a bit. Turns out, like, leading people, you have to talk to them a lot.
Yeah.
And good books are just a window into the human soul. So
I love it.
Did English, and then going back to the Naval Academy, part of the program was a year-long master's in leadership and education with University of Maryland.
Wow.
So the military paid for. I mean, I owe the
University of
military
Maryland.
a lot.
You said
correct. Yeah.
Okay.
And then I went to the War College. They're like these classes you have to take basically to work well with others, like joint professional military education. So we can understand the Army and Air Force and stop making fun of them so much. But there's like 3 more classes and another master's in leadership there. So I'm pretty fortunate. I just kind of stumbled into those things. And
you're taking a real humble approach to, but that's a hard work. What you went and what you studied, you really learned a lot there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And you're utilizing it. And I'm almost like, I think maybe we should talk about how you're utilizing it already. Now, before I get into that though, I just do want to say though that, we met networking. So you probably had some lessons somewhere where you figured out how important networking was.
Yeah.
Did you?
Oh man. So I think I mentioned earlier, I kind of dreamt up this idea in DC, moved here, incorporated LLC. I was like, here, I got this amazing idea. I'm going to start a business. No network. I didn't know anyone here, in the military, you just move somewhere and you check in and then you're part of the command. And I had no clue how important it was to meet people, know people, understand like what other people need and be able to help them out.
Yeah.
Obviously, like I knew maybe it was important, but I didn't know how to do it or where to do it.
I love it.
A huge lesson.
So you had this degree, you had these skills, but there's some implementation there, and you need people in order to implement.
It turns out, like, why aren't people beating on the door right now? I put a website up. Jeez,
don't they know me?
Yeah, right.
That's great, man. That's really great, and honestly, a lot of folks need to understand that, because that's kind of street level stuff. Networking is a skill that you can develop on your own. You don't necessarily have to go to school to be able to do it. But if you do it and you're good at it, then you can create opportunities, So, but that's something that we've been, speaking a lot about on this show.
Yeah.
And you figured out how to facilitate, how to work that through your business.
Trying to. I'm still figuring it out, but I just meet people. I'm like, do you want to go rock climbing? And they're like, whoa, that's kind of weird. Sounds dangerous.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it scares me.
Yeah.
And so again, I talked about earlier how Knight threw me aback. So I'm going to let everybody in on it. A leader, a teacher, a motivator. Combine that with a love for the outdoors, building community and business while exploring the world around them. Learn and apply current leadership theory through gritty outdoor adventures. That's something I've got off your website. I like that. A cairn, C-A-I-R-N, is a formation of rocks that marks a trail. When you know the way, leave a trail for people to follow. Another great quote from your website. I love that. Let's say it again. When you know the way, leave a trail for people to follow. That's a lesson to be learned, period, on this show and beyond. Knight Campbell, founder of Cairn Leadership Strategies. Welcome to the show.
Zeke, can I hire you to introduce me every day? That was amazing.
I appreciate it, man. Absolutely. That's what I do. That's what I got for you. That's my gift.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So, like I was saying earlier, though, like the Southern California experience. Now, like I said, I've been here, plenty of years. I've been here 18 years or something like that. But I had never met, first of all, when I moved down to San Diego area, I never met so many military people. And I had also never seen so many people say, I'm going on a hike tomorrow. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, really? You know what I'm saying? Like
Cowles Mountain, probably.
Right. Exactly.
Watch out for that one.
Yeah. So I really, but then when you told me your business model, then I was really blown away because I'm like, wait a minute, you do what? You know what I'm saying? So it's not just expeditions that you're doing. You're actually teaching. You're teaching leadership, strategy, all of this stuff. Tell us more about the business model.
Yeah. I mean, without us doing anything, time outside makes people more creative, happier, healthier. And there's all kinds of science coming out that shows that, which is pretty cool.
100%.
We're not paying them to come up with that science.
Right.
We appreciate it.
Yeah.
But it's just a really nice place to learn. There's experience, we have to make decisions. We have to manage risk. A thunderstorm's coming in. Great. Let's talk about risk management, how to take care of each other.
Thunderstorms coming in. Great.
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah. We, a great story, we took a group of executives out to Joshua Tree.
Okay.
And we did some climbing. It was a great time. Lots of learning, talking about flow, different leadership topics. And we're like, what do you want to do this afternoon? And they're like, well, we really want to go for a hike. Okay, great. Where do we want to go? We want to go to the top of that hill over there. Sounds like a plan. Like, do we need to do anything else? No, we'll just walk. Mm-hmm. Do you all want to have someone lead the hike or be in charge? Like, no, we're all executives. We don't need anyone to lead us. Great. Okay. Mm-hmm. Half an hour later, we're lost. Completely lost. Mm-hmm. And Abigail and I, we kind of know we're lost too, though. You go into Joshua Tree back in the boulders and everything looks the same.
Okay.
So here we are lost with this team of executives. And imagine how much more they learn that, you need a leader. You need to have a plan. You should have check-in points to know, okay, are we on our strategy or not? Are we checking in correctly? And they're all great people, great leaders. Mm-hmm. They know these things, but there's so many things to do as a leader, you just forget, or as an executive, someone else does that. You forget what it's like to be in their shoes.
Sure.
So some of them are on our board now, and they still remember that. They sit down with teams, they're coaching a team, and then they're like, wait a second, do you all have a leader right now? Do you have a plan? Do you have check-in points? And so it sticks with you. You're a little bit scared. You can throw that theory in, bring in Harvard Business Review, bring in the latest research. Wow. And it sticks in your mind, and it's just really cool.
It's a great place to learn.
Yeah.
And it's a good, as we talk about a lot on this show, it's a good blend of business and personal, right? It's an opportunity to have business, but also be doing something that's, gives you energy, that allows you to be thoughtful, have some fun and have community, although you are learning and growing in business at the same time.
Yeah. One of our guarantees is that you don't feel like you're in a classroom. You just have fun the whole weekend. And you get in the car to drive home. And you're like, oh my gosh, I learned so much.
Right.
But I love how you start this show personal, because you can't separate. People think like, oh, I can go, get a certificate from Cornell and learn all about leadership. And they're great. You learn a lot.
Sure.
I've taken some of those, but you can't separate that from your personal. How you show up as a father, mother, partner, friend, just person picking up your coffee at Starbucks.
Yeah.
And how you show up leading a business, they won't be different. If they are, then you're going to be burning a lot of energy faking it.
That's right. Yeah. You're faking it. You're being two people in the same day.
Right.
No, there's got to be a combination of those two. And if you show your character in business, then that relationship lasts longer.
Right.
And that's why we have such a long relationship, right?
Yeah.
I love that, man. And I appreciate that. So tell us more about the locations. Like where have you been, and what are the adventures? Like what you've been doing?
The best part of our job. We can just dream up. We just talked about Zion this morning. We're like, I wonder if we could do Zion.
Okay.
And so we're gonna go backpacking in Zion, and we got good insurance people. We get insurance for Zion National Park, get the permit, and we'll go do that. So yeah, we started out Joshua Tree, which is amazing to me. It's just like the day I got the permit to go work in Joshua Tree, I was like, oh my gosh, do they know who I am? And then just exploded from there. We do Catalina. We go up in the Sierra Nevada, climb glaciated peaks up in Washington State. We are going to Virginia, going to the Olympic Mountains in Washington, going to Nashville. Not Nashville, the Smokies. So yeah, wherever we can.
Are you teaching different strategies, or is there a theme to these or anything like that?
Yeah. So what we like to do is crowdsource. We send out like a little survey a couple of weeks before and say, what's on your mind? What do you want to learn about? Because things come up as leaders, and having some curriculum shoved down your throat isn't really useful or pleasant. But if you're like, wow, like I have to redo my strategy, I have to pivot. COVID has completely changed my business, whatever. I need to focus on mission, vision, and values. Great. We can do that. Yeah. So we kind of tailor each one to the group that goes with us.
It's incredible. So what do you say to people who feel like they're not equipped enough to get out there, physically to do the challenges that you're putting in front of them? So
I always tell people, like, all I expect is for them to go one step further than they thought they could. And when I say that, people are like, oh, okay. And I'm like laughing to myself, because what I'm saying is I want you to do something impossible. Like go further than you thought you could. Really, that's what you think is impossible. But when you put it like that,
that's what you think your limit is. Yeah.
Yeah. I meet people networking, and I'm serious. I meet people networking, I'm like, let's go rock climbing. And
it's people, funny some people are like, say it to me, because I have never even considered it.
Let's go rock climbing.
You gotta say it in your deep voice.
Let's go rock climbing.
All right, I'm in.
Yeah, all right, awesome. You heard it here. You got to come now. We got good insurance, so you don't have to.
Right? But I mean, no, I've never climbed a rock, though. I mean, and I saw something on your website. It was talking about ice climbing. Like, I mean, you've done some things that most people are, and I'm sure, for business purposes, maybe some of these listeners are listeners right now. They're expanding their mind. They're like, you know what? Yeah, he's right. Learning these things outdoors will be different than learning it inside of an office. And I would love to kind of get outside a little bit, maybe go on a bike ride or go, do some things. But now you're talking about, like, this one foot in front of the other thing is, I mean, we're talking about, so, like you said, in their mind, it might be impossible to them.
Well, and this is why I love, like, my deep passion for this work comes from this moment. When I say, let's go rock climbing. And I'm thinking of one person I met networking a couple of years ago, and she was like, no, that's not for me. I don't do that. I'm like, perfect. Let's go rock climbing.
Right.
We talked a couple more times. She ended up coming out with me, and I don't think she even made it to the top. Okay. She made it like 20 feet up, which is a huge deal.
Sure.
And the 20
smile feet more than
on
she's
her
ever
face,
done.
The oh my God, like I can do this. Wow. Because it's not crazy hard, like I'm not some super athlete. It seems like it.
Navy guy.
It seems like it, but we take people out all the time who've never been camping, never been backpacking, never been climbing, and it just opens up possibilities. That's what it's about. We coach people, we do this, and when they go rock climbing and they do it, they didn't believe they could. They're like, okay, like sure, I'm gonna sit at the bottom and
Wait
watch,
for you
I
guys
guess.
to get back.
Yeah. And they do it and they're like, oh my God, like I have this dream that I've never really tried for. I've always wanted to start a business. I've wanted to move up to the Pacific Northwest.
Yes.
I'm going to do it.
Right.
And it's great. Okay. We have the competencies and the skills. Like, let's talk about how to do it.
Yes.
And it's just, I love it.
Okay.
I love it.
Yeah, I love it. And then there's also some, what else? What else are you doing? Kayaking?
Yeah, we went canoeing. I can't even remember all the things we're doing anymore. It's amazing. Yeah, we went canoeing not too long ago. That was really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
where about?
Black Canyon. You put in right under the Hoover Dam. Like literally, you're like looking at this giant dam when you put in, and it's pretty funny. So we're taking complete beginners. Most of the people have never canoed before.
Okay.
And because it's the Hoover Dam, there's all this security stuff. So
yeah,
the guy driving us down, like we contracted with someone to get the canoes and stuff. And he's like, listen, you got 15 minutes, get the canoes off the trailers, get them in the water and get out or they'll shoot you.
Yeah. Oh, what?
Like, I think he was kidding about that. But,
yeah. Or to shoot you that's a reminder. That'll wake you up right there.
They probably fine him actually when I think about it. But yeah, it was pretty funny. We were all scrambling, and it worked. We got out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome, man. And I'm really inspired by this because really it's a conversation about it's about people. It's about the human spirit, right? The ability to do things that you never thought that you could. But it's also just such a great combination of some important things because you're giving them strategies. And you can even hear it in the things that you say. You can hear it in the way that you're speaking about it, that you are talking business. You're just talking about it in a different form, in a different language. And, they're going to pick up on that as they're out there sweating and climbing and doing all these things, man. I think it's amazing, man.
Yeah.
So what's the work like to become certified like you are? Like what did that take to?
Oh, I did like a 2-hour course online and they just sent me.
Yeah,
you're thinking that rock climbing thing.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, it's been a journey, like before we were even married, my wife and I wanted to climb the high point in every state. And some of them have been harder than others, like Kansas, ironically. There's a thunderstorm and just like the mud on the roads turned into this ice. It was so slippery.
Wow.
So we're going like 5 miles an hour, sliding all over the road, going to Sunflower Peak. It wasn't that hard, but it was pretty funny.
Sure.
It's an amazing way to see the States.
Yeah.
You see places you never go. But it required us to learn a lot of different skills. So you said like ice climbing. Well, we needed ice climbing for a couple of them. We needed to know how to travel on glaciers. So it's been a part of who I am for years, decades. I've been in this journey of climbing mountains and learning about myself along the way, which is why I love taking people out there. But then when I decided to start doing that professionally, you'll laugh a little bit about this. I applied to REI as a salesperson and as an outdoor school instructor. And I interviewed for the salesperson thing, and the guy's like, "You're way overqualified. Like, you can't do this job, man. But I'll put in a good word for you for the instructor." And so I went and interviewed, and I'm a big mountain biker, so I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna teach mountain biking. Like, that'll be cool." It's actually not. It's terrifying. People flying over their handlebars, and you're like, "Oh man, like, do I need to give you help or not?" So I taught. Part of the interview, I had to teach something, and I knew a little bit about anchors from climbing mountains. So I taught how to make like a rock climbing anchor. And they're like, "Great, you're going to teach rock climbing." I was like, "But I don't rock climb." Like, "You'll figure it out." I'm like, "Oh, I don't know."
Corporate business.
Yeah, right. And they gave me qualified oversight. They didn't just throw me out there.
Okay.
That would be unsafe. But and I learned so much.
Then we'd have to bleep out the name of the company.
Yeah. No, they did a good job, but it opened up the possibility for rock climbing. So I learned, and there's the American Mountain Guide Association. They certify people to guide. They're kind of like the organization for that. There are maybe one or two others, but they're the kind of the premier one. And I think one of my friends from the Naval Academy, who's a guide with me now, had his SBI. So that's a single pitch instructor. And you got to do like 40 lead climbs. So climbing up something without something from the top protecting you, basically. And then you take a whole course and do a whole test, and you get that. And that was like, oh my gosh, like I'm a certified guide. And it took a long time. It took a lot of practice.
40? You have to do 40.
Yeah, just to take the test. Like those are the prerequisites to do the one I did after that, the rock guide course. It was 50 multi-pitch, so 50 like over 300 foot climbs, which is, it's awesome. It's crazy because I did that and then I got to the course and you're like, I've done like 50 of these. Like I got this.
Sure.
I didn't.
Yeah.
There's so much to
learning.
learn. So much to learn.
I bet.
Yeah, I did that. And then I went, one of my dreams, National Outdoor Leadership School, Knowles, works with the Naval Academy a lot.
Okay.
And my wife was good friends with the person who coordinated the contract with the Naval Academy for them. And I think like one of my peers there, Brian Hart, he was another company officer, and he's like, oh, it'd be cool to instruct for Knowles. And I was like, yeah, that would be cool. So that kind of got it in my head. Maybe that, there are these little tiny things that people say that kind of dramatically shift the course of your life.
And they tell you put one step in front of the other.
That's it. That's it. So when I was in this PhD program, which dark part of my life. I got out. I left after a semester. Okay. And as I was leaving, I applied to Knowles and got into their instructor course. And that was, it's a lot of what we do at Caring Leadership. It's developing people, human beings, leaders through adventure, but they do like 30-day expeditions. So when you say like, "Oh, camping for a weekend," like people might not be comfortable. I'm like,
because you do overnights,
go on
right?
30. Oh yeah. For sure.
And that's got to be an experience in itself, right? Because then now everybody's sitting around and they're like, okay, oh man, how was that day? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And you're like, hey guys, by the way, tomorrow we're doing all of that. Yeah. You know what I mean? So but then just that relaxing moment at the end of a day has got to be, first of all, a great time to stop and teach.
Oh, for sure.
But also just a time to communion a little bit too, right?
Yeah, there's something about climbing something hard or backpacking a couple miles and sitting down. And we make pizzas outside. It's awesome. They're really good. Okay. So you make a pizza and you're like, wow, we did something hard today. We're eating pizza. There's a sunset. This is amazing. Right. And the people know they need that. Yeah. But they're too busy or they have too much going on. Yeah, we have all these excuses that hold us back, myself included. Yeah. I'm like, 3-year-old. I got to pack for camping with a 3-year-old. I can't do it. Yeah. My wife's like, suck it up, pack. It's going to be fun.
The Film Hub is the future of co-working right in downtown Vista. Get energized to go to a safe work environment that is clean and sanitized. Create video content, live stream events, and all of your marketing material in our audio and video facility. The Film Hub. Do your best work here.
North County Daily Star is the leading source for news and community information along the 78 corridor. It's free to subscribe and it is updated daily. Look for us on your mobile device or computer at ncdailystar.com.
The San Marcos Chamber of Commerce is the voice of business in San Marcos. With over 50 years of service to the community, we continuously evolve to meet the needs of our members and help solve problems. Our strategic plan is based on 3 pillars: advocate for our members and small businesses. During this pandemic, we have participated in letter writing campaigns to the governor and have made statements during county board meetings, city council meetings to help businesses open while following health and safety protocol. We continue to work with Cal Chamber to oppose job-killing bills, and we also take stands on propositions that we support or oppose depending on how it affects our small businesses. Another pillar is promoting San Marcos through special events such as festivals, farmers market, Taste of San Marcos, and most recently, candidates forums for the school board elections and also city council. The third pillar is we also provide valuable resources for our members through webinars, networking events, as well as access and introductions to people that will help your business thrive. For more information on the San Marcos Chamber of Commerce, please visit our website at sanmarcoschamber.com.
That's right. So she's right.
She's right. She usually is.
Yeah. Well,
can we cut that out?
Well, suck it up. I carried her for 9 months. So.
Yeah. Right.
See you do that.
Yeah. Seriously.
I was going to ask you though, when do you stop and teach under those circumstances, under all of this, but it seems like you're teaching kind of the whole time.
Yeah. We have a really elaborate process. So we're always priming people. We're saying, hey, we're going to talk about values tomorrow morning. Think about it. And we give people a journal that's kind of guided through the experience. So we're like, hey, go to page 3, answer these questions, like take a little bit of time, go sit on a rock, look at this magnificent view, reflect on your life. We're going to talk about this tomorrow. And then we talk about it. And then maybe we're rock climbing later. Like, hey, how are your values showing up right now? And they're like, oh, well, I thought about my values and they were courage, but right now I don't want to move forward. And you're like, really? What's that about?
Yeah.
Are you going to move forward or not? They're like, okay.
Yeah,
I am.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So,
yeah, it's exactly what you were thinking about. So you gotta, dig in deep now.
It's just woven throughout. So we commit to like no more than 10 minutes of lecture for all of our lessons because people don't want to hear us talk about it. They want to experience it.
You're doing it. You're like I said, you're kind of doing it during.
Right.
So there's no actual, just like, it doesn't have to be just straight lecture time. We're not just stopping and pulling up a PowerPoint, right?
Exactly. Yeah. PowerPoints are tough outdoors too.
Yeah. Yeah.
I will say we just laminate 8.5 by 11 sheets of paper to make whiteboards. And before that, people would, and in the reviews, be like, "Oh, fantastic experience, really loved it." But I don't know if I learned much about leadership. We didn't change anything except for we started like drawing diagrams on those whiteboards, and people were like, "I learned so much about leadership." So whiteboards are the key to leadership.
That's cool. So tell us a little bit more about who your typical client is.
Yeah. So a lot of our clients, they went out camping with their parents. They were Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts. Like there's some little spark of, I love the outdoors, but now I'm too busy. I have a family. I own a business, whatever it is. And then they hear what we do and they're like, wait a minute. Like I can write off leadership development for my business and go outside and climb things.
That's my thoughts. Like 5 minutes ago, I was just thinking about writing this off. But go ahead.
There you go. Go ahead. True business person. I love it. So we get a lot of business owners.
Yeah. So you're getting some CEOs. They might be sending their team or maybe whole teams, but you might also be getting people who are thinking about going into business too. I mean, I'm just guessing, but you tell me who you're seeing now.
Yeah. Well, what's cool about what we do, we get all kinds of people. We get people who are passionate about growth, who want to challenge themselves, and who want to be in a community. You put it really wonderfully in the beginning of this.
You mean like personal growth?
Personal and professional.
Okay.
Leadership's hard.
Sure.
You're up there, you're making the decisions. You're like, choosing what to have for dinner when you go out with people. You're like, oh man, I don't want to be the person that picks Thai food and then the Thai food sucks and nobody likes me anymore. Sure. So like ratchet that up by 20 and that's leadership.
Right.
So people who want to do better at it, and pretty much every problem in an organization is leadership driven. As people don't know what to do, it's not clearly communicated. People don't understand the vision. People aren't inspired. Employees aren't engaged. It's all leadership. Yeah. So we don't really have like the industry sector or whatever. We get people. We have on a typical Crux Adventure, a couple of business owners, a couple of partners in businesses, maybe an executive, and then a plumber who's 22 years old. And the plumber has like these beautiful insights for people. Where, if you're a CEO and a plumber listens to you and they're like, that sounds like crap. Like, what are you talking about, man? Sure. You don't get that in your business. Mm-hmm. No way. And then if you're a plumber and a CEO is like, well, have you thought about this and this and this? Like, where are you going in life? What makes this worthwhile? Like, you got beautiful pearls of wisdom there too. So that intergenerational aspect is really awesome for us.
Very much so. But, just depends on the forum, right? Because if that's in the wrong forum, like, the plumber is there working at the corporate office just to like fix up some pipes or something, and then he is accidentally in the boardroom and they're like, get that guy out of here. Who cares what he's talking about, right? And the same thing if the CEO comes in while he's doing his job. You don't know what I'm doing or what. Right. But in your forum, everybody's kind of on the same plane, and you can have these insights because, hey, we all climb this rock together. Exactly. I got a right to speak just as much as you. I really like this, man.
It brings people together.
I like this.
There's just respect, and like, why not? We should be respecting everyone around us. So
100%. And so, but it's the optics sometimes. It's like I said, it's the perspective. Now I see you, you do have some recommendations though, in terms of reading. I've heard you mention a couple of books already. Yeah. Give us a couple of book recommendations.
Oh my goodness. You put me on the spot. I always, when people ask, I go to my Audible and I'm like, okay. Someone just asked me.
But you mentioned one earlier. You were mentioning, I didn't get a chance to write it down.
So I just finished the last lecture.
The last lecture.
That one's pretty good. Okay. I give it a solid like B.
Okay.
Fun read.
And you like that because it kind of had a little storyline behind it. The guy is about to die, and
I mean,
what would you say to people if you were in that position?
Here's the problem: leadership books, like I love them, but I hate them because typically, if you read the first 3 chapters, you're like, you got it, and then they had to do another 5 or 8 chapters to make it feel like a book.
Should have been a pamphlet.
Yeah, like I just started reading this book, and it's like, you have to be confident. That's the whole book. They just keep saying it over and over and over. I'm like, yeah, I got it. You could have just like sent me a text. Be confident today. So I really, books that are different. We have a reading list on the website. And we stand behind those. So, they're not those kind of repetitive. And the repetitive ones, they have good points. They're not bad books. Mm-hmm. They're just like, okay.
I get it. No, we're going to take that. We're going to take, and we're going to look at the reading list too. I'm going to give the website. Awesome. CairnLeadership.com, CAIRN leadership.com. We did a little internet dive too. Okay. Yeah. So, and I need you to actually, you're going to love this. Yeah. This is good because you just, it might've been an email or something that you sent out recently, a marketing email.
Yeah.
Soggy Socks.
Yes.
What the rain taught me about problem solving. Yeah. You got to give us this story.
Oh man. Well, it's not my story. It is my story, but it's not my story.
Okay.
Tim, he works in ops with us, and he's done guiding all over the world. Mm-hmm. Super awesome individual. And we ask everyone to write blogs. You can see into someone like how they operate, how they think when they write a blog, So he's like, I want to write a blog, but I kind of want it to be about rain. I was like, great. That sounds perfect. Okay. So for me, my Soggy Socks story on that Knowles instructor course, so it's like a 28-day expedition. And I didn't have that experience.
28 days.
Yeah. In Alaska, most of it on a glacier. I mean, it was amazing. I learned so much about myself, about leadership, about the outdoors. Mm-hmm. But, we did the high point thing. We're trying to climb mountains, my wife and I. It's like, okay, like we're going to get up as fast as we can, camp, climb the mountain, come back down, and leave. Actually, the high point in Wyoming, it's like 20 miles in. And so the last day we climbed the mountain, come back down, take a nap, and we start hiking out. We're going to camp out like halfway out, make it nice. Okay. It starts raining. And my wife's like, we're going to leave. We're going all the way. And I'm like, we're going to do 20 miles right now? Like, are you serious? And we just like marched through the rain for hours and got soggy. So I was used to these quick trips, go climb the mountain, get out, get a burger, get a milkshake, get a cold beer, whatever.
You earned it, right?
Yeah, exactly. So day 2 of a 28-day expedition, we tromped through this glacially fed stream, like ice water. My boots are completely soaked. And then it starts like heavy, wet snow just dumping on us. And I was like, there's no way I can do this. Like, this is terrible. I've made a huge mistake. Mm-hmm. Every day, like different people cook breakfast. So I go out and I'm like fumbling with the tarp. My hands are cold and wet. I'm like, I want to cry. Here's my crying moment, right?
Okay.
I'm like, this is terrible. Like, what have I done? And Emmy, one of the instructors, was also cooking. Like, they had to cook their breakfast too. So she comes out. We get up early before everyone else. And she helps me with the tarp. Put the tarp up. It's dry. We start like cooking hash browns. Put some butter in there. It smells good. I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, this isn't so bad. Mm-hmm. Like, we're eating hash browns under a tarp.
Like a reset moment.
Yeah. Uh-huh. And it's so funny. From that, I learned, like, we think that the world's ending. Like, oh my gosh, my socks are wet. And Tim in his blog talks about this too. My socks are wet. Like, I'm getting wet. It's uncomfortable. The world's ending. I just want to quit. Mm-hmm. But if you wait 1 hour, like, your socks are off. The sun's out. You're lounging out in a beautiful meadow, drying out, nice and warm. And it's like, man, just stick with it for 1 more hour.
That's right.
The rain's pretty powerful teacher. Yeah, I wish it rained more down here. We don't have much rain on our trips, but
I was gonna hang out with you and rock climb, but that's the only thing you said to me wrong today. Yeah, man. The reason I'm in Southern California is because I wish it would never rain again.
Yeah.
That's me personally. Like I said, I come from Northern California. We have 4 seasons. And I know from other states, they don't even believe Northern California is 4 seasons. Yeah, you come from snow. We don't get snow up there. Yeah. But no, not for me, man. 78 degrees year round.
It's not bad.
I like it down here.
Yeah.
No, but that is a great lesson, man. Great story. I really absolutely appreciate it. And I appreciate you being here.
Yeah.
Get your leadership strategies from Cairn Leadership Strategies. You please do. Please contact them. Get in touch with Knight, KNIGHT, at Cairn, CAIRN leadership.com, or and that's his email address. Check out CairnLeadership.com. Find him on LinkedIn at Cairn Leadership Strategies. I really appreciate you being here. If you have any last words, let's hear it.
Yeah, I mean, life's a journey. Go out, get wet, get soggy, get gritty.
Yeah.
Get in the sun,
Yeah.
enjoy it. We don't have that much of it.
100%, man. Thank you so much for being here tonight.
Thank
I really
you, Zeke.
appreciate it.
Yeah, enjoyed it.
All right. Good. Same business, different day. Thank you for listening to Same Business, Different Day. We truly appreciate your support. Please like, subscribe, and leave a nice comment on all platforms. It really helps our show. The Same Business, Different Day podcast is produced by A Different Day Radio, StarFox Media, and James Russell.
Same business, different day.